Okay, so here are some notes going over the review. I'm not going to go over the entire review for you, but there's a couple things that you can look at to help you out. First, identify the rate of change. Remember, when we're doing this, when you're given a table, go to Desmos, hit the plus symbol, hit the table button, enter the table. Remember, if we're doing a regression, we're looking for that little button off to the side of the table to do the regression. And when we do this, we'll get a line and it'll say y equals 2.5 x, and I believe it is plus 0. So you identify the rate of change. Is this increasing or decreasing? This is positive, so it's increasing at a rate of 2.5. In this one, we can do the exact same thing. Even though they didn't give us a table, they gave us points. You can use this point, 0.82. You could use this point, 278. You could use this point, 474. Or you could use this point, 572. It doesn't matter. You just have to pick two of them. And as this is going to the right, it's going down. So we obviously know that this is decreasing. Do your regression and figure out how much it's decreasing by. In number 2, it says which equation represents the line containing 5, -1, and has a slope of 2. And then they obviously used point slope form. One thing I'm going to have you do at the beginning, this is slope intercept. This is standard. And then remember, this is point slope. And you have access to every single one of these on your reference chart. So this is obviously using point slope based on the information they give you. So I'm going to write down my point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. I know that when I write these out, these are the pieces that get filled in. This is my x1. This is my y1 and slope of 2. So my slope is 2. That goes right here. That matches all of those. So I can't eliminate based off of that. My y1 goes here. Make sure that you use parentheses. My x1 goes here. Make sure, again, you use parentheses. Negative times a negative makes a positive. And a negative times a positive keeps it negative. So we keep it like that. Make sure that you find that. Here it says what function best represents the relationship in the graph, and we'll go through the ordered pairs. So you have 2 points, 1, 5, -1, -3. You would do your regression. Your regression gives you y equals 4x plus 1. The downside is none of them are written in slope intercept form. They're all written in standard form. So remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. Remember your rules with A. A has to be positive. Cannot be a fraction. No fractions allowed. And technically speaking, none of these, A, B, and C, they all can't have a common factor. We don't have to worry about that here because there's only one y value, 4 and 1. So that's not going to be able to reduce at all. So move your x value over, try and find your answer. Number 4, it says for a linear pair, f of -5 equals 7, f of -2 equals -8. Write it in slope intercept form. They did a dangerous thing giving you 2 points, because if you're given 2 points, you can make that into a table, just like you did for problem number 3, just like you did for problem 1 on both sets. -5, 7, -2, -8. Remember, this is the same thing as slope intercept. Make sure also with these, if your M or your B happens to be negative, you have to write it in because it's always going to be written or given to you as y equals mx plus b. So if you got a negative value here, you have to write it in with the negative. If you get a negative value here, you have to write it in with the negative. Some rules on parallel and perpendicular lines. Remember, parallel lines, they use two L's because they go out forever and they never intersect. And therefore, if they never intersect, they're going to have the same slope. Perpendicular lines. Remember the symbol for perpendicular has this little 90 degree, okay? Because they make a right angle, they make a 90-degree angle. And remember, their slopes are opposite signs. So if it was negative, it becomes positive. If it was positive, it becomes negative. And the other one is reciprocals. So if you have negative A over B, opposite reciprocals, they first flip, B over A, and instead of it being negative, it now becomes positive. And if it was positive, it would now become negative. Okay, so the graph shows point C and line F. Write an equation point slope form that passes through the point C and is parallel to line F. So I need this line to figure out its slope. So I can use a couple different points here. I have negative 10, 0. I have what looks like negative 6, 2. I have 0, 5. I have negative 4, 3. Again, I'm just grabbing these points just to put them into a table in Desmos and find the slope. The other option I have here is because I have these points, I can do rise over run. If I'm doing rise over run, this rises 2, runs 4. So rise over run says it went up 2, it went over 4. So my slope is 1/2. As it's going to the right, it's going up, so it's positive. Okay, so I know my M. My M is 1/2. Now I need it to go through this point. The point is 4, negative 5. Okay, so now let's plug it in. Y minus negative 5 equals 1/2 x minus 4. Let's simplify this. This becomes y plus 5 equals 1/2 x minus 4. If it was asking for perpendicular, remember perpendicular is opposite reciprocal. So I flip these around. On top it becomes 2, on bottom becomes 1, and instead of a positive, it becomes a negative. So for perpendicular, this slope would have been negative 2. I bring that up because that is the very next question. The very next question says, write the equation on slope-intercept form of a line that passes through 5, negative 1, and is perpendicular to a line that's represented by 5x plus 2y equals 2. Okay, so let's start with this. And it even gives you a hint, start in point slope form. We got a lot of things going on. This might be the most complicated question on this entire review. So let's walk through it. Okay, the first thing I need is the slope. Okay, so what I know about the slope is it needs to be perpendicular to this line. This line, unfortunately, is written as 5x plus 2y equals 2. So unfortunately, that's written in standard form. Ax plus by equals c. So I don't even have the slope yet. So let's try and find the slope. So here's what I'm going to do to find the slope. I'm going to convert this into slope-intercept form. Okay, so let's convert it. I have y all by itself. So let's get y, this guy. We're going to isolate them, get them all by themselves. My first move, get rid of this 5x. I'm going to move it over. This becomes 2y equals negative 5x plus 2. Step number 2. I need to get y all by itself. Right now I have 2 y's. I need half of those. So I'm going to divide everything by 2. This gives me y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 1. Now, I did this whole thing just for the slope piece. The slope of this line is negative 5 over 2. However, I need it to be perpendicular. So this is parallel. So perpendicular, I need to move this negative reciprocals. So instead of 5 over 2, it becomes 2 over 5. And instead of negative, it becomes a positive. So that's the first part. Step 1, done. I found my slope. Step 2, it's still written in slope-intercept form, and all they did is they gave me a point. So now I have to use my third form, which is point-slope form. My point that they give me, y minus negative 1 equals, I know what my slope is. It's 2 over 5, because that's the slope I'm using. Parenthesis x minus my point, which is 5. All right, let's deal with some stuff. Let's simplify some stuff here. Start with this. Y minus negative 1, y plus 1 equals 2 over 5, x minus 5. That doesn't change at all because the 5 is positive. Okay, step number 1 done. Step number 2, I got to get rid of these parentheses. Let's distribute. Y plus 1 equals 2 over 5x. 2 times 5 is negative 10. Negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. There, got rid of my parentheses. Last step, subtract by 1. Y equals 2 over 5x minus 3. I have my 2 over 5. Now I have my intercept, which is negative 3. What I would do here is I would graph this and make sure that it goes to this point, 5, negative 1. You truly can't tell if you are perpendicular to the original line because you can't graph this original line unless you did this. You could type this in and make sure that they look perpendicular to each other, but you need to verify that it at least goes through this line, this point, 5, negative 1. There's no excuse why we can't do that. So on question number 9, graph both of these and figure out which one matches this picture. Okay, what's the slope of vertical lines? Parallel means that it moves the same way. Perpendicular means that it crosses. Whoops. Parallel, perpendicular. So is it parallel or perpendicular to the x-axis? Is it parallel or perpendicular to the y-axis? Same thing on question number 10. Graph both of these. Verify which one is the correct one. What's the slope of that line? Is it parallel or perpendicular? Is it parallel or is it perpendicular? Question number 11. The total cost, T, for bags of Halloween candy includes a flat delivery fee and a cost per bag. One customer purchased 2 bags of candy for $17 and 6 bags of candy for $37. Which linear function models the total cost in T for B bags? So I have my table. I should plug that in and see which one correctly identifies my regression. And remember, it's set up as T equals because T is the total cost. So E and H are immediately out. Number 12, the value of y varies directly with x. When the value of x is 3, the value of y is -9. What's the constant variation? And what's the value of y when x is -4? Remember, the constant variation is this y equals kx. Another way to remember it is it's y equals mx, just no plus b because it's plus 0. B equals 0 here. So you have to figure out what would you multiply 3 by. 3 would be multiplied by what to equal -9? That's your constant of variation. Then when you figure it out, plug it in and see what you get for an answer. Number 13, the first 4 terms of an arithmetic sequence are shown below. A1 is 8, 2 is 13, 3 is 18, 4 is 23. So again, they gave you a table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 13, 18, and 23. If they gave you a table, you can do a regression. If they gave you a regression, you should be able to figure this out. On the back page, they gave you a table, type it in, do the regression. Number 15, they gave you a graph. You identify the points. You use those ones, 0, -5, -3, 0, and do your regression. And that's your notes on the Unit 3 review.